Hey, what's up? I'm Ashley. Thank you for watching this video. And today, we're going to be talking about From Season 2, Episode 5, and let's get started. So when it first comes on, we see Randall trying to get some sleep on the bus, but he can't because the monsters won't let him. So Randall's mad now, so he gets up real fast and goes to the door like he's about to open it, but then he thought about it like, hold up, I better not. I don't want to get torn apart. So he started getting all big and bad from inside of the bus. He's crazy, but he has some common sense. He's like, you can't get in here because I got the talisman hanging from the window. And I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared of y'all. So by him telling the monsters that he's not afraid of them, they started walking away. He's like, where you going? Come back. I said, shut up. Why would you tell them to come back for? They leaving you alone. And he's like, don't walk away from me while I'm talking to you. But the monster said, see ya. Maybe the monsters get off on when people are afraid of them and that's when they tear them apart. But when they're not afraid of them, they just leave them alone. Let me know your theory on that. And then we see Jay drinking out of the bottle. He's going through it and he's looking at the picture again of the man who's in the photo with Victor. And all of a sudden, the man pops up. Jay starts having a vision and he sees the same man who's in the photo with Victor. And the man is holding up a notebook with the symbols in it that Jay's been seeing. But as he's holding it up, blood starts dripping down from the symbols on the notebook. You already know that's not good. So Jay hops up, but when he gets up, the man is gone because, it's all in his head. He was having a vision. And all Jade can do is start screaming out loud. Jade is about to drive himself crazy. I really hope nothing bad happens to Jade. After that, we see Boyd sleeping in the church, and then we hear someone pounding on the door like they was the police. So as Boyd is getting up to answer the door, Sarah pops up and she's like, Boyd, no, don't open the door. She's scared. They want to get her. They trying to put her in a box. So Boyd's like, go back in there. I'ma handle this. So he opens the door and it's Tabitha and Jim and they come busting in there. They're like, where is she? Where is she? Boyd's telling them to calm down, but Jim's like, calm down. You want us to calm down? And Tabitha's going on and on about how Sarah tried to kill Ethan. She tried to kill my baby. But with all that energy that Tabitha had, and when Sarah finally came out, I thought that Tabitha would have done way more than what she did when Sarah came out. But no. But all she said was, if you ever come near my family and Ethan again, I will kill you. I'm like, that's it? That's not the same energy that you had when you was knocking on the door, standing there with her hands on her hips. Instead of having her hands on her hips, she needs to be using them to snatch Sarah up, because that's what I thought she was going to do when she was banging on the door and came up in there like that. But then to top it off, she's like, do you understand me? Do you understand? Say it. Do you understand? And Sarah's like, I do. Girl, that's all. I just cannot take Tabitha seriously. So after all talk and no action, Jim and Tabitha finally leaves the church. And when they leave, Boyd tells Sarah that he's going to the colony house to talk to Donna and to lock the door. But first, she decides to peek out first. Then we get to this part where Julie is trying to get Ethan to come out of his room, but he won't because he's upset about Sarah being back. He overheard his parents and Julie talking about it last night. They finally get him to open the door, and when he does, he says, I want to see Sarah. Then we see Christy and Mary, and Christy has brought Mary some tea or coffee or something, along with some bread crisps that Kitty's mom made. Then Mary tells her that she has a surprise for her and brings out this shirt that used to be Christy's, and she tells her that she kept it with her since the last time that she saw her. I think there may be more to this shirt because they won't let it go. We ended up seeing it again towards the end of this episode. But Christy starts telling Mary that she's afraid that she's not herself anymore, and Mary is telling her that they're going to figure it all out together. And they finally, after all this time, kiss. Then we see Sarah just casually walking into a house, not even knocking first. And when she gets inside, she picks up this flannel and she starts smelling it. And I'm like, whose jacket is that? And we quickly found out when the people who lives in the house now came out and was like, hey, you're that girl who killed her brother. Put that jacket down. It's mine. And Sarah's like, no, it's my brother's jacket. And they're like, I don't care. Get out. You don't live here anymore. Get out. So that's when Sarah goes to the closet and she starts looking for stuff. And they're like, get out of that closet. What are you looking for? And Sarah's like, I'm looking for this small ceramic ornament. Have you seen it? And then that's when they tell her they got all of the stuff out of the house because it was creepy. Okay, it's creepy, but you're keeping that jacket? I would have got rid of everything then if it was that creepy. But they tell her that she can find her stuff in storage at the diner. Sarah leaves after that, but I never would have left until I knocked something down first. Talking to me like that, after that is when we see Jade at the the bar, making the symbol that he's been seeing out of all of the alcohol bottles. And as he's doing that, Victor walks in. Victor says, "You don't look good," and then asked him what was he doing. So Jade told him, "I'm trying to figure out this symbol that you know something about but won't help me with." Then Victor tells him that he'll do what he can to help him figure it out, but you have to help me with something first. Then Jade says, "Aw, F off." And then as Victor's leaving, he's like, No, come back." Victor then goes outside and brings in the violin and tells Jade that if he plays, he'll tell him about the man in the photo. After some back and forth, Jade follows Victor, and then we see Tabitha and Jim on the porch, and Tabitha is worried about Ethan meeting up with Sarah. Jim reminds her of what the doctor said, saying that they should let Ethan lead things sometimes, and to let him lead things in his own way. And Ethan is overhearing this whole conversation. He's like, "Let me go outside and calm my mama down." He tells her, "Remember when you told me that this place is scary? And when you're on a quest, you have to face the scary things. That's how you take their power away." After that little talk, Tabitha tells him to stay with his dad and to do exactly what he says. Then after that, we see Boyd and Donna is mad at Boyd. She's like, "You want to break the rules that you created? That girl needs to go in the box. She should have been in the box." She goes on and says, "You said when you left that you was going to bring back some answers, but instead you came back with a psychopath who killed 4 people. But because she's special, she doesn't have to go in the box." She tells him that this whole thing has destroyed the trust that they had in him. She keeps going. She's like, "I don't think this is about going home. I think this is about Abby. Ever since the day you shot her, I think you feel like you could have done more. You feel like you could have helped her. Abby is dead and Sarah is a killer." That's when Boyd gets up and he says, "Are you going to have my back on this or what?" Donna says, "What did you want from me? My approval? Because you're not going to get it here. And what does Kenny's mom think about this?" So Boyd didn't even want to answer that. He just walked out. We see Sarah standing in front of the diner. She wants to go inside, but she's scared. And she also sees Kenny coming out. And while she's just staring at the diner, Ethan and Jim walk up behind her. That's when Ethan approaches Sarah and says, "Everyone thought you died, but you didn't. You lived out in the woods. Only monsters live out in the woods. I thought we were friends, but we're not. You're a monster, and I'm not afraid of you." Sarah just says, "Okay," and I'm thinking, that's it? That's all you got to say? You're just like your mama. If I was Ethan, I would have thrown my little stick at her. I would have picked up the pieces from the house and threw it at her and said, "Ow, look what you made me do. Get a splinter." I would have put on a full show and had everybody looking. Everybody gonna see this, but no. After those few little words, he walked away with his daddy. We see Jade and Victor walking in the woods, and Jade is fed up. He's saying, "If you want me to play something for you, I'll play, but I'm not about to be walking out here with you all day." And as they're still walking, Victor is saying, "It's strange. The trees are changing." And Jade's like, "What does that mean?" So they finally get to the spot, and we see a whole bunch of cars, and Victor tells Jade that he brought some of them there because he was tired of looking at them, and tells him that there's more cars past the rocks. But those were already there, and then he apologizes for the way that he acted the other day about his violin. He just doesn't like people touching his things. Victor takes him to this car and tells him, "This is where you play." Jade's like, "Oh, thank God." And it turns out that this car used to be Victor's mom's car, and this is the car that they got there in. Victor sits on top of the car, and then he tells Jade that he used to sit on top of the car and his mom would play "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star" for him when he was scared with the violin, and she would tell him to think about the twinkling stars when he would hear the people screaming. He asked Jade if he knew that song, then Jade started playing it. And as he's playing it, Victor is getting really emotional. We saw Elgin and Sarah in the church, and it looked like Elgin was trying to shoot his shot. Elgin started talking about how he used to go to church every Sunday with his grandma, and that he was on his way to go see his grandma when he was on the bus. Then Sarah started talking about her brother Nathan. Sarah started talking about these ornaments that her and her brother used to make, and Elgin thought everything was going good. He's like, "Why don't you live at the colony house?" Because, he's trying to see her in there. He seemed really interested until Sarah confessed that she killed her brother. That's when Elgin got up and got out of there. We see Ethan and Jim make their way back home, and then as Tabitha is hugging Jim, she starts looking at the puzzle rocks weirdly, and I said, uh-oh, here we go again. We get to the diner where we see Kenny's mom and Sarah, and Kenny's mom is telling Sarah You took my husband from me. I took care of you, but you put hate in my heart. But I know why you came, so wait here. And she goes in the back and gets the box that Sarah was looking for when she went to her house. Sarah takes the box and she leaves. And as she's leaving out of the diner, she sees Kenny. Kenny says, "Are you kidding me?" Takes the box and throws it on the ground. Sarah's stuff goes everywhere, and the ornament that she was looking for falls on the ground, and she rushes to go get it. Kenny snatches it from her and says, "What is this, huh? What is this?" Kenny smashes the ornament on the ground, and as Sarah is picking the pieces up, he says, look at me, all in her face, talking about, "I don't care what boy says. If you ever come near my mom again, I'll drag you and put you in that box myself." I understand why, but Kenny is unhinged. Why are they letting him walk around with a weapon? But Kenny made a whole scene, something I would have done if I was Ethan. After he got done making his whole scene, Elgin went over there and helped Sarah pick up her stuff, regardless of the fact that she just told him that she killed her brother. And I'm glad somebody went over there and helped Sarah, because yeah, even though Sarah killed those people, something was controlling her mind to make her do it. You can tell she's sympathetic. She didn't want to do it. She's regretful for this whole thing. So yeah, I was feeling bad for Sarah this whole episode. I don't want Sarah to die. I know a lot of y'all think that she probably needs to die or whatever, but I feel like she was being controlled some kind of way. And for whatever reason, they chose her. I just wish that we were able to get more answers. We get back to Mary and Christy, and Mary is giving Christy a haircut. And as that's happening, Tilly walks in and she gives Christy her bottle of morphine. And Christy's like, "Why are you carrying this around?" Tilly tells her that she was diagnosed about a month ago, so she wants her to hold on to that. And you already know, Tilly cannot be anywhere without spilling some tea. So before she leaves, she lets Mary and Christy know that it's good that they're inside and not outside with everyone else since Sarah is back. After Christy finds this out, she runs outside and Mary runs after her, and when she catches up to her, she's like, "What's going on? You're not going anywhere. Who's Sarah?" Christy tells her that Sarah's been killing people and that she killed this little boy. Christy is thinking the reason why Sarah killed all those people is for her. She thinks that Sarah sacrificed all those people just so that Mary can be there with her. That's crazy. That sounds crazy, girl. You are not that special. That would be crazy if that was somehow connected to Christy in some way. Mary tells her this isn't her fault and to just come inside. Then we get back to Victor and Jade. Victor takes Jade to Christopher's car. We find out that the guy in the picture's name is Christopher, and how he seemed like a good guy at first and how he always made people laugh, but then things started to change. Victor's starting to freak out. He's trying to leave and he's telling Jade that he shouldn't be asking these questions. And Jade's like, "I haven't been able to sleep. I've been seeing things. I've been seeing these symbols. You gotta help me out here." He says whoever Christopher is saw these same symbols too. He was drawing them. So what do they mean? Tell me what they mean. Victor's like, "I don't know. I don't know what they mean." Jade apologizes. He says, "I know this is scary, but I'm at the end of my rope." Victor tells him that when Christopher started seeing this symbol, he changed. He didn't make people laugh anymore and he stopped smiling. And that one night, his mother told him to hide somewhere different that Christopher didn't know of. And when he woke up the next morning, everybody was dead. He's telling Jade that this place is bad and makes people do bad things. Do you think Jade will end up like Christopher? Because I really hope he doesn't. And then we see Tabitha in the woods playing with this rock puzzle. She's stacking it up in front of the cave that her and Victor were in. And she's like, I'm here. So she's literally asking for it now. Then all of a sudden, all these bald-headed kids came out of the woods and they were chanting, Ankui, Ankui, all the way until they approached her, got her down to the ground, and started touching her. She's all like, don't touch me, but they don't care what she say, they're touching her anyway. She's trying to get them off of her, but all of a sudden she snaps out of it and she was hallucinating the whole time. Jay walks up, he's seen the whole thing, and he's looking at her like she's crazy. Now, what made her call on these dirty bald-headed kids? I don't know. I don't know what she thought was going to come of it. I don't know what she thought the outcome was going to be. She don't be making any sense. Then we get to where Jim tells Boyd that he doesn't agree with what he did, but when he looks at Sarah, he doesn't see a psychopath or a killer. He sees a girl that's broken. He says he looks around and sees a lot of people pushed to their edge and wonders if that's the whole point. And he tells Boyd that him and Donna heard a voice on the radio when they built that tower, and says that the man's voice knew his name and knew what his wife was doing in their basement. He tells him that he thinks people could be watching and listening to them. He tells him that this is probably an experiment that goes all the way back to World War II, and that they don't have to like each other, but they have to work together to get through this whole thing. Boyd just ends things with, "I have to go." And even before this conversation, Boyd noticed that Randall was doing something weird, resulting around that bus, but he was just minding his business and he kept it pushing. But Randall took some chairs out of the bus and he put them on top of the bus. While he's up there, he's carving out something from some wood. Boyd goes to the diner, and as soon as he steps inside, the radio starts playing. The song sounded like a creepy lullaby about the Sandman and tiptoeing around and trying to go to sleep, which brings it back to the title of this episode called Lullaby. Anyway, Boyd's arm starts hurting and he sees the worms in his arm again. It makes me wonder if his arm and these worms are connected to that radio. Then after that, we get these quick scenes, and one of the scenes is Christy putting on this shirt that's hers from back home and what Mary brought with her. And it brings me back to what I said before when I said that this shirt could have a bigger meaning because they keep showing it to us. We see Mary go inside of the medicine cabinet and takes a shot of that morphine that Tilly gave Christy to hold on to, and it makes me wonder if Mary is sick or if she's just addicted to painkillers. Ethan sees Sarah walking down the street, and at the same time, he's still playing with this rock puzzle. If I was Tabitha, I would take that rock puzzle away from Ethan. I don't know what her problem is, but look how Ethan is looking at Sarah, as if he's really going to do something. Boy, you have the same energy as your mama. All talk and yell and no action. Jade is playing darts with the symbols, and we get another quick shot of Randall on top of the bus carving out that wood. We see Boyd back at the diner, and this time Kenny's mom walks out, and Boyd was in there looking for her anyway, but this time she finally comes out. I want to know what took her so long to come from the back. What was she really doing back there? But Boyd tells her that he's hoping that they can talk. If I'm her, I'm talking to him when I'm ready. If I get ready. Not just because you walked up in there. And that's how it left off. But y'all let me know all your theories about this series and this episode down in the comments so we can talk about it. And if you haven't already and want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.